Guys, hey y'all, it's Kiki. Welcome back to another episode of the So Into Self Pod. I know I skipped last week, but I've been fighting with this camera, trying to figure out. Sometimes this camera want to work, and sometimes it just don't. And today it is, so I'm trying to take advantage of it because it might give up again, and we just gonna be grateful for what we can do. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about something that is very necessary in my life, and I've seen it in other women's lives. And that's the mother wound. But I think when people talk about women having a mother wound, I don't necessarily hear them talking about like the different types of women who have mother wounds, because in my experience, you have women who have the mother wound and they are automatically jealous of other women. They don't make good friends with other women. Every other woman is their competition. Even if they befriend her, they're really not really befriending her. Honestly, they're just using her to gain something else or like to spite somebody else. But then on the other hand, you have women who have mother wounds and they are almost desperate for friends. They're not necessarily the one who's super jealous or the one who is trying to spite people. They are almost the ones who are so desperate for a friend they overlook the jealousy and the envy and the unhealthy behaviors of their friends just to have a friend. Most of the time, the second woman that I named oftentimes ends up befriending women who is just like her mother. But the first woman ends up becoming her mother. And I want to talk about that because I want to basically point out ways to know if you might have mother wounds or if somebody that you know may have mother wounds. Because for some reason, a lot of people do. Please don't piss me off right now. Go. Because for a lot of women do, and a lot of women are not even like aware of the fact that they have mother wounds. A lot of women have been conditioned to think that the way that they have been treated by their mother is normal. I saw a post on TikTok and it was saying, how many people was being called bitches and hoes by their mom growing up. And it was women in the comments like me. And of course they were like, oh yeah, we're no contact now, or I don't talk to her anymore, or she died, blah, blah, blah. But it was way too many women in the comments speaking about how their moms like basically treated, like disrespected them I'm talking about to the core. And some people normalize it. Some people feel like, oh, well, it's better. Or at least she didn't, abandon me. At least she didn't throw me out. At least she, didn't leave me hungry. She called you a bitch. And she named you. She knows your name. But decided to call you a bitch anyways. That's a problem. I know for me personally, my mother wound shows up. I was definitely the desperate friend. When I look back, like when I was just in therapy and just kind of going over my life and just going over the type of friends I had, I did not have the greatest friends. I did not. Now, every single friend I had was not terrible. But I noticed that when you are surrounded by people who don't care for you and don't like you in your family, but you are not aware of that, then you can and you will attract people who are the same way. I had so many different friends who did not like me, were, pretty shitty to me, but I just felt like, oh, like that's just what friends do. It's like, girl, no. Friends don't set you up to be jumped. Not a real friend. Friends don't set you up for a boy to try to take advantage of you. Okay? Some other shit going on. But but the thing that I noticed about most of those friends, and don't get me wrong, because I've also had friends who had mother wounds who were not the jealous friend. They were also the desperate friend. Like they were not shitty to me. They were not mean to me, but they were so desperate for friendship from other people that they will also overlook certain things, or they would want to stop being friends with me so they can be liked so badly by this other person. And I just noticed that when you have a mother wound, a lot of the times we end up being friends with women. Oh, hold on, y'all, because it's itching. We end up being friends with women who are just like our mothers, and we don't know it until we actually like do the work or we learn the information and we actually pick up on the patterns. I had way too many friends who reminded me of my mom, whether it was like the way that they talked, the faces they made, the slick comments they would say. I would always just be like, that's some shit my mama say, or that's some shit my mama do, or that's a face my mama make. And then lo and behold, it's like, yeah, she's a shitty friend, babe, just like your mom was a shitty mother. So when you do it. But yeah, let's get into it. So the main thing I know for a fact, I've had multiple friends who saw every other woman as competition. No matter who she was, where she was from, even if they never even had a conversation with her, it was almost like whenever that other girl was in the room, there was a finish line there. And the girl, of course, the other girl was not aware of it. But the one who had the deep mother wound, she saw the finish line, and it was almost like her mission to beat all the other girls to the finish line. Mind you, nobody else is aware of this finish line but her. Okay. So we gonna name we gotta give a name for this girl, because I'm naming two different archetypes and I don't want to confuse myself. So right now we talking about Sally. We just gonna say Sally. Fuck it, that's the first name that came to my head. Sally is the girl who her mom, 9 times out of 10 saw her as competition and also saw other women as competition. So she grew up to be the same way. And I think Sally's whole problem is simply just wanting to be chosen and wanting to be like important in some aspect in somebody else's life, and she wants to be important in I guess in her own life too, and that's her only way of making herself feel important and seem important, because of course she was not important to her own mother. Most of the women I know that have mother wounds, their mom chose other people above them, or their mom just talked badly to them, about them, to other people, beat them up on occasion, put them out every chance they got. I mean, they were just nasty to them. So, but that's what I do notice about this Sally type. The Sally archetype is very jealous, extremely competitive, and deeply insecure. So insecure that she tries to combat it by being overly confident and overly conceited to make it seem like those insecurities don't exist, and they do. I got my notes. I gotta read them, and I ain't got my glasses on, child. And I don't make a doctor's appointment until tomorrow. So just bear with me. So when the competition looks like, a lot of the times women with a mother wound, they may compete for a guy, they may compete for compliments, they may compete for like accomplishments, that type of thing. Honestly, y'all, I hate to say it, but the first person that came to my mind was Kenya from Real Housewives of Atlanta. We all know that she has a mother wound. Her mother never claimed her, never wanted to, never talked to her or anything like that. And Kenya was not nice. Kenya was not a nice housewife. She was very mean. She was very rude. She was condescending. And but when it came to her and Phaedra, with the whole booty boot camp video, if you don't know, basically Kenya was a housewife. Phaedra was also a housewife. Phaedra wanted to do a workout video, and she wanted Kenya to help her produce it, but they ended up falling out. And so Kenya decided, well, I'm going to do my own workout video, and I'm going to get more views, and I'm going to get more, just money from it. So that was clearly a competition there. But that's just what they do. It's just that they just fight to be number one, because I guess they're just not number one in their own, like in their own beliefs. They're not number one. They're not number one in anybody else's life. And sometimes even if they have the love of their father, because Kenya talked about how she had the love from her father, and she was also raised by her grandmother, but she was also always just fighting to get answers from her mother. And I feel like when that mother wound goes unchecked, and it is just extremely unhealed, it doesn't matter who in your life loves you. When you are so focused on being loved by this person who has rejected you over and over again, it makes you lose sight of the people who are really there for you and who really do care for you. And it just keeps that mother wound alive. It never dies down. It never deads it. It just keeps that mother wound alive and well. And on top of them, being super competitive, the Sally archetype, I don't know exactly what the name is, but Sally archetype, they like to be seen. They like to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be recognized in some way. And a lot of the times, even if that means embarrassing themselves, even if that means like doing just shameful things, their whole thing is they want to be seen. They want to be looked at. And so, prime example, going back to Kenya, when she showed up to a charity event, trying to like be dressed as Phaedra, she had her butt out, she had her like everything out. And this was not a beach. This was not a swim party. It wasn't a pool party. It was a charity event where everybody had on clothes and were covered up. But they want to be seen and they want to be heard because the person who they wanted to be heard by so badly did not acknowledge them. They did not hear them and they did not want anything to do with them. And I can honestly say that I've also dealt with the second point, which is wanting to be seen and wanting to be heard really badly. But I think for me, how can I say this? As a person who was trying to fight so hardly to be liked and be loved and accepted, and I was focusing so hard on that, I was not paying attention to the fact that I had my grandmother and I had other women in my life, like coaches and teachers and just women who just would, embrace me. I wouldn't pay attention to that because I wanted to be seen and I wanted to be recognized and I wanted to be embraced by this person who was so gung-ho on not wanting to do that. And I never really looked at myself as a person who just wanted all of the attention, but I have done things that were solely out of me wanting to be seen. Like I have posted things on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, like sometimes you post subliminals or you may repost something or share something that is clearly dealing with your situation and you want somebody to see it and know that you taking shots at somebody. I've definitely done that. And so I can understand that. But I think that it just goes to show, like, when you focus on that person who's not giving you what you want, it just makes you do some of the most like craziest things. Another thing that I noticed is a lot of women who deal with a mother wound, when they are dealing with women who are in like they have some type of authority, whether it's like a boss, manager, supervisor, teacher, coach, whatever, like somebody who has some sort of authority over them, they may have a hard time with them or they may overly cling to them. It's one or the two. It's either they may completely just have full-blown attitudes. They don't want to talk to them. They don't want to listen to them because they remind them of like the mother figure that they don't really have and they don't know really how to receive that. So they also reject it or they cling really, really badly. And it's crazy because when I think of like the girls with the mother wounds who cling badly to the teachers and the professors and the coaches and the bosses and things like that, I think of Janine from Abbott Elementary clearly because, if you watch Abbott Elementary, Janine's mother, Vanetta, is not a good mother at all. She's not great. She's not supportive. She only shows up in Janine's life when she needs something. She doesn't really support the things that Janine wants to do, like dating Gregory or like going on the solo trip. And so Janine, because she has this mother wound, she clings. She clinged almost like instantly to the other teacher, Barbara, who represented pretty much, I'm sure, what she wanted to be like her mother, just a mother figure or just like a maternal figure in her life. So these women with mother wounds, it's always like an extreme. It's never a good balance, right? Because of course you can have a teacher that you love and they might piss you off every now and then. You can have a coach or just a woman, a mentor in your life who you might really love and respect, but they piss you off and y'all might get into a debate or an argument every now and then. But women with mother wounds, they tend to go the extreme. They tend to either be completely just against any woman with some sort of authority, or they want to be up under her 24/7. That is what I've noticed. And I can say that when I was younger, especially like in middle school, I was definitely the one who like would reject and just would have a problem because I just did not want to hear that. Like I was like, and the thing is when I look back, the teachers that I would like have attitudes with and the coaches and all that good stuff, they weren't telling me anything bad. It was just discipline, but it was a healthy discipline. And I didn't know what that was. Like, I didn't really know what healthy discipline was. And so when they would correct me and things like that, because I was so used to, you know, a parent taking the time out to overly embarrass me or shame me, I took it as that. When they were simply just trying to correct me because they care in a way and they wanted to see me do better, I would lash out because I would feel like, oh, you are trying to embarrass me. You trying to, you know, act funny, da 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 da. When in reality, girl, for one, they're responsible for you for these next however many hours because they're your teacher, professor, whatever. And you being as young as you are and as immature as you are not seeing that they are trying to better you, but you don't know what that looks like. So you just fight back. So I can definitely relate to the left one. I've never really clung to a motherly figure because I had my grandmother. So that's who I really cling to, really. I never really needed a teacher or a guy's. Like, I remember I was dating a guy and his mom, I feel like she really wanted me to really want her to be like a mother figure to me. And it's like, yeah, I may not really mess with my mom, but I didn't go without maternal love. I have a grandmother. Like, I don't need you to, I don't need you to like play games with me, and I don't have to kiss your ass, and I don't need you to just do the things to try to get me to prove that I deserve your love and care. I'm not your child. And in reality, I barely even like your child as it is. So please cool it. Cool it. But that leads me to my next point. These women with mother wounds are terrible friends. They make terrible friends. They make terrible siblings. They make terrible mothers. They make terrible bosses. They are just terrible overall. And it's because, you know, they have that unhealed energy. They have that unhealed wound. And so when they are bosses and they have some type of authority, if they are not the Barbara type from Abbott Elementary, they are the ones who are constantly micromanaging, constantly pointing out all of your errors, all of your wrongs, just being extremely nasty and just downright rude when it's not even necessary. Especially if the woman or the women that they are over they seem a bit more healed or a bit more independent. They tend to just not like those type of women because it's like they mirror to them what they have not been able to do. And I've had horrible bosses. And it was, I guess, like when I started doing my own healing, I started trying to pay attention to other people, and I would really listen to their story because, you know, people talk. And if you just really sit and listen, they will tell you exactly who they are and why they are the way that they are. And I remember I was working at a law firm, and there was another girl that worked there. She was only like 8 years older than me. At the time, I was like 21. She was like 29. But when I came in, at first she was nice to me, but I guess she didn't like the fact that I was actually a decent worker. For me to be so young and for me to be entry level, she started being so rude to me. And I remember this particular day because I ended up being able to work like a more sensitive client at the time because I was, good at my job. And so I ended up making an error with one of the sensitive clients, and they sent it to the head honcho, which is our supervisor. They sent it to, I'm sorry, they did not send it to the supervisor. They sent it to the 29-year-old. And I kid y'all not, when she opened the email to see that I was the one that made the error, her exact reaction was, "Oh, so somebody made an error." And it's like, it was almost like she was so excited to point out the fact that I had fucked up something. But I had also learned that her and her mom were not on good terms, that she was getting married. She was engaged at the time, and she was getting married, and her mom didn't want to come to the wedding. She was constantly into it with her sisters because I think her mom would like pit them against each other. There was a lot of triangulation going on. It was just a lot going on. So I realized, okay, this lady definitely has a mother wound, and it's a little bit of like, maybe she has that competition trait, because at one point she was the youngest employee there at 29, but then I come in at 21, and now not only am I the youngest, but I end up moving up a bit quicker than she had. So I guess she had a problem with that, which that's fine, because fuck her. But anyway, oh, forgive me. I didn't mean it. I did mean it, but I didn't have to say it. But yeah, they make horrible wives. They make horrible mothers. They just make horrible people all around. And unless they get that healing, the worst of all is the mother who has a mother wound. Oh my God. And I'm telling y'all firsthand, as somebody who dealt with that, no longer deals with it, but who dealt with that, having a mother who has a mother wound, and it has gone completely just unhealed. She doesn't want therapy. She doesn't want to talk to anybody. She don't even want to pray about it. She just wants to be angry and mad at the world. That's the worst thing you can do. I think the best thing you can do is get away from your mom. If she has a mother wound, get away from her, because that's not, it's going to end bad. But when I also talk about them being bad friends, they oftentimes, these women who have mother wounds, they like to befriend women who they see as beneath them, right? Of course, nobody is beneath you or above you, but these women, they don't like to go and befriend people who they think are doing better than them, who are more educated, prettier, richer, smarter, whatever. They tend to go and befriend women who are, I guess, less fortunate, or just not doing as well as they believe that they are doing, because it's the way of them, it's their way of feeling better about themselves. So if I befriend you and I know that you are struggling financially and I'm not, it makes me feel like I got one up on you. And I have had a friend like this. And I guess I could say, but I used to hear her talk about another friend that was in our friend group, because it would be a lot of us, but she would talk about this one friend. And I would think, why are you even friends with her if you just gon', oh God, my hair is falling down. But I would think, why be friends with her if you just gonna constantly talk shit about her situation? Hold on, y'all, because this is what happened when you try to do a quick weave quickly. Do you feel it in your heart? And this damn clip, it won't stay in place. It's so annoying. I'm always coming on here having to fix my damn hair, because my hair don't ever want to act right. Child, shifted my wig, moving my bangs. Now I gotta damn fix my claw clip. But yeah, I remember being like why be friends with her if you just gonna talk like mess about the situation that she's in, and always make fun of the fact that she has a terrible boyfriend, and she also, has problems with her mom, and she doesn't know her dad and things like that, and she would just laugh about it. And that made me realize, oh, okay, you're the type that likes for people to be beneath you. So then that made me look at myself, because I'm like, okay, you friends with me, bitch. Do you think you better than me? And in what way? Quickly. So I had to quickly I had to cut off, because it's the worst. But then while you have the archetype that likes to befriend women who are beneath them, you also have the archetype that likes to befriend women who they place on a pedestal. it's almost like they see them as like this one who is going to help them, like just go, I guess, like a savior, or like almost like another mother figure. They cling, like Janine, they cling and they want to be best friends very, very quickly. And they want to call you sister after only knowing you for a week. And they want to wear matching outfits and go everywhere together and do everything together and be up under you 24/7. It's not healthy, because that can turn into something dangerous really quick. So we know about the jealous friend. If y'all don't know about, I think her name is Shanquella Robinson or something like that. But that was the lady who went on a trip with her friends and they ended up killing her. So you got to be careful with those types who want to be the type who wants to be under you so bad, and they want to just not give you no space, no breathing time. It's something in that is just not right. But we're going to talk about that another day. And that last part leads me to my next point of it leads me to my next point of, a lot of these women are very performative. These are the women who claim to be girls, and I support all women, and they are very performative in their support and their advocacy for women, just in hopes of getting closer. And their whole goal in getting closer is just to learn about you or to learn about the person, just so they can either become the person or try to surpass the person. Long story short, when it comes to being friends with a woman who has mother wounds, it's not a good look, unless she is completely aware of the fact that she has that mother wound and she is doing, or she has done the work to heal that mother wound. Because like I said, I have a mother wound myself, and I have been the type who was so desperate for friends that I would just I would just hang with anybody. I remember my mom used to say, you make friends with anybody. And at first I thought, well, ain't that a good thing? That means I'm pretty much a people person. But when I look back, it's like, no, you actually do be friends with anybody, because these people can be mean to you. These people shade you in your face. These people talk mess about you. Sorry, y'all, that's my cat's automatic feeder. But it's like they talk mess about you. And instead of you respecting yourself enough to walk away from them and stop hanging with them, you laugh it off like it's something funny. And these people are dead ass in the things that they saying. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that, because I'm not sure where jealousy comes from. I do believe that jealousy comes from people feeling entitled. But specifically in female relationships, I noticed that a lot of the not so good relationships ends up being with one of the girls not having a good relationship with their mother, or just having a non-existent relationship, and them not being a good friend or the greatest friend. So that's just what I've noticed. But I know for me, I've never really had, well, let me not say I've never really had, but as I got older and I started to as I got older, around the age of 21, I don't know what happened, but at the age of 21, I was just like, girl, you need some healing. It's some shit going on with you. And so from that moment forward, it was never an issue for me to admit when I had some things going on that needed to be healed, i.e. my mother wounds or my father wounds, or, my pride or my ego, and etc. So I know for a lot of women, even the ones who know for a fact they have shitty mothers, it can be very hard for them to admit that, because you have to swallow your pride to be able to say, no, I did not have a great mother, and that affected me, and it affects the way that I interact with my female friends and women in my life and my bosses, my supervisors, my professors, my teachers, etc. You have to swallow your pride to admit that. But I feel like once you admit it, it gets you closer to being able to have those good friendships and actually building a sisterhood with women who aren't even like blood related to you, and being able to actually gain good advice from the mentors and the bosses and the teachers and all of that good stuff. Because I talked about this in a past video, but there is a lady, she still works in my job, and we've talked a bit more now, and I think that's because I was able to swallow my pride and admit that I had my own little mother wounds and things like that. But I remember like feeling so intimidated because she gives maternal energy, but not in a very dainty and soft way. She gives like a tough love type of energy, which I think is very necessary, especially nowadays, because women like to be coddled. And I don't know if that's going to ruffle some feathers, but women like to be coddled and women don't like to be told the truth. And as a woman who I cannot stand for people to lie to me, and I cannot stand for people to beat around the bush. I appreciate the tough love. When I was younger, I didn't, because I felt like, again, you're trying to embarrass me, you're trying to shame me, or you're basically hurting my ego because I believe this to be true about myself, but you're exposing me and I don't like that. But now that I'm older, it's like, you know what? I can actually swallow. I don't even need to swallow my pride. It's not there anymore. I can hear you out, because I know that this advice that I'm asking for, and this wisdom that you're giving me, is not coming from a place of, oh, I think I'm better than you and I'm trying to make you look bad. It's coming from a place of, I've been in your shoes before, and I'm hoping to give you the advice that I wish I had when I was your age, but I had nobody to give it to me, so that's what I noticed. But when it comes to mother wounds in general, they can get real ugly real quick. And oftentimes you hear a lot of women, oh, I don't have friends. Oh, it's hard for me to keep friends. It's hard for me to make friends. And my question is, and this is, of course, this does not apply to every single woman, but it's like, how was your relationship with your mom? How was your relationship with the main female figure in your life? And then how does your relationship with her affect how you see other women in your life? Because that's going to tell you why you don't have the friendships and why you're not able to keep friends. Mostly because of how your mother saw you. That's how you see other women. But yeah, y'all, this video is longer than I thought. I always say that. I lie. These videos be long because I be yapping and I like to yap. Fuck, I don't care. I'm trying to stop cursing, y'all. So I'm gonna try to bleep out these curse words. I'm trying to stop cursing because sometimes it be very unnecessary. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because I know for me personally, once I acknowledged the fact that I had these mother wounds, and I did do a lot of journaling and a lot of shadow work, it was easy for me to kind of let go of that guilt and that shame that came with it. And it was also easier for me to acknowledge the women in my life who have shown up as some sort of maternal figure in my life. The boss I have now, she's super cool. She gives me a lot of wisdom. Like I said, I had my grandmother. I always had my grandmother. So she played a huge, huge part in me getting that affection and that love that I missed out on. And I had a whole lot of like teachers and coaches who would just gravitate towards me for some reason. I don't know if they could smell the mother wound on me and they just felt the need to like embrace me. I honestly don't know. Cause sometimes favoritism, I have been like a recipient of favoritism. And sometimes I'd be like, I don't understand why y'all favor me so bad. I don't even be doing shit. Like I barely even talk. But I don't know. Sometimes God or the universe just lines stuff up for people to come into your life and love on you in the way that you need to be loved on. So I can't complain. But yeah, once I acknowledged my mother wound, I did my shadow work, and I became the mother that I wanted for myself. The rest was so easy. It's not hard for me to make friends. It's not hard for me to talk to other women and listen to them share their stories and me share my story. It's not hard for me to support and want to be there for other women. That's just not impossible for me. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I hear about it all the time. I hear about mother wounds all the time. I hear about jealousy and female friendships all the time. And I think that the mother wound is one of the reasons why we have so much of it. But with that being said, y'all, that is it for this video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to let me know if you have a mother wound and if you healed it and how you went about doing that. I would love to hear about that. And yeah, I will see y'all in the next episode. Bye, y'all.